You ever feel like everything you thought was real, suddenly isn't? That gut-wrenching, soul-punching moment when someone you trusted with your entire life betrays you. That's exactly what just shattered Triple H into pieces. The world of wrestling has seen shocking moments, from title betrayals to career-ending injuries. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared the WWE universe for what just broke behind the scenes. We are not talking kayfabe. This ain't no scripted storyline. This is real, raw, personal. Triple H, the cerebral assassin, the King of Kings, the man who built NXT from the ground up and held WWE's future in his bare hands, is now facing the most devastating personal blow of his entire life. And this time, no sledgehammer can fix it. Sources confirmed that Paul Levesque, known to the world as Triple H, recently discovered something so brutal, so deeply personal, it's left him spiraling. We're talking about Stephanie McMahon, his wife, his life partner, the woman who stood by his side through multiple surgeries, boardroom battles, and locker room wars, having had a secret relationship with none other than Kurt Angle. Yes, you heard that right. The Olympic gold medalist. The man who made Triple H's life hell in kayfabe once upon a time. The man who nearly stole Stephanie from him in a classic 2000s love triangle storyline. The man who, according to insiders, may have blurred the line between storyline and reality. It wasn't just a script. It wasn't just TV drama. The feelings were real. The moments were intimate. And now, years later, the truth has clawed its way back to the surface, leaving nothing but ashes in its wake. Imagine finding out that one of your greatest rivals shared something more than a promo battle with your wife. Imagine carrying the burden of trust in a marriage that millions idolized, only to be blindsided by a past that refused to stay buried. Triple H isn't just heartbroken. He's enraged. Friends close to him say he's been distant. Unreachable. Not even returning calls from Shawn Michaels, his lifelong friend and fellow Hall of Famer. The once stoic and powerful COO of WWE now walks the halls of Titan Towers like a ghost, lost in thought, shaken by betrayal. So how did this come out? Where did the truth leak from? And why now? It all started during a recent behind-the-scenes filming for a WWE Network documentary focused on the Attitude Era. The production crew dug through old footage, unused interviews, and archived off-camera moments to craft a deeper look into one of wrestling's most iconic periods. Then, it happened. Uncut interviews. Candid off-the-cuff remarks. A raw moment caught on tape, where Stephanie McMahon spoke emotionally about the chemistry between her and Kurt Angle during their infamous storyline. But it didn't stop there. One production assistant, who has now quit the project, leaked that Stephanie paused during the interview, seemingly struggling with her emotions, and then whispered, "There was more truth in that story than anyone knew." That quote set off alarm bells. Suddenly, people started asking questions. Deep diving into old timelines. Looking through travel logs. Unreleased tour footage. And then the messages surfaced. Old email chains. Handwritten letters found in WWE storage crates dated back to 2001. Stephanie and Kurt, exchanging more than just friendly jabs. Romantic hints. Late-night sentiments. Emotional confessions. At first, some brushed it off as just nostalgia. Harmless emotional bonds forged during one of the most hectic times in WWE history. But then, a former WWE diva confirmed what no one wanted to believe. Stephanie and Kurt were emotionally involved. For a while, it wasn't just a TV angle. It was real, and it was intense. Boom. Truth bomb. And Triple H, he found out like the rest of us. Not in private, not in confidence, but online. Through the leak. His reaction. He locked himself in his office for over 9 hours. Security said he skipped meetings. Cancelled calls. Didn't speak to anyone. Then he walked out. Quiet. Head down. Didn't even say goodbye. A man who fought through heart failure. A man who kept the company afloat during Vince McMahon's departure. Now shattered over a betrayal from two people who meant everything to him. The wrestling world is shaken. Kurt Angle has yet to comment. His social media is dead silent. Not a word. Not a cryptic post. Not even a quote tweet. Silence. Stephanie. She hasn't denied it. WWE has refused to make a public statement. But fans are furious. Many are demanding that Kurt Angle be removed from any future appearances until the matter is clarified. Others want Stephanie to come forward and address the truth. Some are even calling this the biggest personal betrayal in WWE history, more painful than the Montreal Screwjob. More dramatic than the CM Punk exit. More shocking than the streak ending at WrestleMania. And Triple H, he's staying quiet. But those close to him say he's thinking of stepping back. Fully. Not just from creative, but from WWE. For good. Think about that for a second. Triple H walking away from WWE, because of a broken heart. Wrestling fans, comment below. Would you forgive a betrayal like this? Was this just a youthful mistake from two people caught in the whirlwind of the business? Or was this a cold, calculated secret that was buried for years until the truth finally exploded? Should Stephanie publicly apologize? Should Kurt Angle be forced to step away from WWE events? And most importantly, can Triple H ever recover from this? Is this the beginning of the end for the man who gave us black and gold NXT, the man who ushered in the current WWE renaissance? Or will he rise from the ashes again, like he always has, stronger, colder, more dangerous than ever? Drop your thoughts below. Let your voice be heard. This isn't just gossip. This is the soul of wrestling's royal family being torn apart before our very eyes. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. It was a cold, quiet night in Stamford, Connecticut, the heartland of WWE headquarters. But inside the gleaming McMahon estate, emotions raged like a summer storm. Triple H stood in his personal office, walls adorned with memorabilia from his storied wrestling career. Championship belts, photographs, a dusty sledgehammer perched in a glass case. He wasn't breathing heavily, but the silence screamed louder than any pop from the WWE universe. On the desk lay an envelope. A plain white one. No branding, no stamp, no handwriting. Just his name typed in bold. Paul Levesque. He opened it slowly, half expecting some business document. But inside were 5 photographs and a single flash drive. Photos of Stephanie McMahon. Not at red carpets. Not at business meetings. No. These were personal, stolen moments. Stephanie and Kurt Angle. In restaurants, walking hand in hand on a beach in Malibu, a kiss shared backstage at a SmackDown event over a decade ago. Triple H dropped the photos. His heart didn't just skip a beat, it slammed against his rib cage. He hadn't even looked at the flash drive yet. But he knew. He knew this wasn't just about a rumor. This was betrayal. And not from a rival wrestler. Not from some locker room drama. This was home. His wife. The mother of his daughters. The woman who helped him rise to the top of WWE corporate. Kurt Angle. Of all people. Kurt freaking Angle. An Olympic hero. A gold medalist. A man who once fumbled through an awkward love triangle storyline with Stephanie onscreen. Everyone had laughed it off back then. Fans thought it was scripted fluff. A ratings gimmick. Was it? He inserted the flash drive into his laptop, and instantly, a video began playing. It was dated August 16, 2011. The camera seemed handheld, wobbly, but clear enough. It showed Stephanie in a hotel room suite, sipping from a glass of wine. Then the door opened. Kurt Angle walked in. What followed wasn't pornographic. No. But it was intimate. Conversation. Jokes. A kiss. A deep one. A hand on the thigh. A clear emotional connection. And right before the video ended, Stephanie whispered something that froze Triple H's soul. I wish we could be public. But Paul can never know. The screen went black. The silence in the office grew heavier. For a man who had battled The Undertaker, survived hell in a cell, taken chair shots from Mick Foley, this hurt more than all of that combined. He sat down, his hands trembling. Rage threatened to consume him. But something in his gut whispered caution. Who sent this? And why now? He picked up the envelope again, this time noticing a faint watermark on the inside flap. The kind you only saw if you held it up to the light. G.C. Gable Clark, an intern in WWE Legal. But why would he have access to this? Or better yet, who was he working for? Triple H opened his phone. Dialed a number he hadn't used in years. Hey, it's me. We need to talk. Now. Scene change. WWE Corporate, 2:44 a.m. Inside the production room, dimly lit, a man leaned back in his chair watching the same footage. Kurt Angle himself. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't proud. He was nervous. He clutched a note in his hand. He knows. Who sent it to him? And why drag up a skeleton from the closet that had been buried years ago? He knew the truth about that night in 2011. It wasn't what people thought. Not entirely. Yes, there had been something. But it wasn't a full-blown affair. It was complicated, emotional, desperate. Back then, Stephanie had been dealing with pressure from both her father and the board. Kurt had just lost his sister. They had found comfort. Yes, it crossed lines. But it ended before it truly began. Or so he thought. Now, someone wanted to weaponize that night. And the only person who stood to gain from this chaos was Vince McMahon. Back at the McMahon estate, Stephanie had returned from a late board dinner. She saw Paul, Triple H, sitting on the patio, eyes fixed on the stars, drink in hand. She smiled. Hey, you all right? He didn't respond. Babe. He turned. When were you going to tell me? Her face dropped. Tell you what. He threw the envelope at her feet. The photos spilled like spilled secrets. She didn't pick them up. She just stared at them. He stood. You and Angle. It wasn't just a storyline. Stephanie's breath hitched. Paul. It was a moment. Years ago. We were both vulnerable. We never planned for it. It didn't go far. You said you wished you could be public. She closed her eyes. I said a lot of things in that phase of my life. I was tired. Lost. It wasn't about love. It was about needing to feel something. So you chose him. No. I didn't choose anyone. I chose you. I married you. I built this life with you. Triple H walked away. This isn't over. But as the drama unfolded within the McMahon-Levesque household, the public had no idea what was brewing. Until the footage leaked. Out of nowhere, the grainy hotel clip went viral on Reddit. Then on X, formerly Twitter. TikTok had it in multiple reaction formats. Wrestling YouTubers exploded with reaction videos. Even ESPN caught wind. Hashtag Steph Kurt affair trended for 72 hours. Podcasts. Reaction streams. Calls for statements. Fans were angry. Confused. Some claimed it was fake. AI generated. Others said it confirmed old rumors. But the real shocker. Triple H was Mia. He didn't show up for Monday Night Raw. He missed 2 board meetings. He even turned off his personal cell. WWE stock dipped. Sponsors started asking questions. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which had invested billions into WWE events, reportedly threatened to pull out unless the matter was resolved. And then, Triple H re-emerged. Not at a press conference. Not on TV. But at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. He called a closed-door meeting. All talent. No media. He stood before the entire locker room. Becky Lynch. Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns. The Usos. Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes. Even NXT rookies. He said just 3 sentences. I'm not here to talk about my marriage. I'm here to talk about loyalty. Some of you forgot what this place stands for. That ends now. Then he walked out. Meanwhile, Stephanie was in damage control mode. PR teams. Legal threats. She was trying to silence the leak, but it was too late. And then, the unthinkable happened. Kurt Angle released a video. On his personal Instagram. Raw. Unfiltered. Eyes puffy. Voice shaking. To everyone watching. I made a mistake. A long time ago. I hurt a friend. A brother. And I didn't own up to it. But I will now. Paul. I'm sorry. To the fans. You deserve the truth. The moment happened. It was real. But it was brief. And it was wrong. The video gained 12 million views in under 4 hours. And suddenly, public sentiment changed. Kurt was honest. Stephanie was silent. Triple H remained unpredictable. Inside Vince McMahon's home in Greenwich, Connecticut, the old lion watched from his private office, sipping whiskey. He smirked. Sometimes, the best way to test the strength of your empire is to set it on fire. He lit a match. And watched it burn. Backstage in 2000, when Triple H and Stephanie were just becoming the power couple. On screen and off, there was a tension bubbling beneath the surface that no one wanted to acknowledge. Whispers of flirtation between Kurt Angle and Stephanie weren't just storyline gold, they were dangerously close to reality. Wrestlers and producers alike noticed the chemistry, and some even warned Triple H about it. But he, thinking it was all part of the job, ignored the subtle red flags. But hindsight is a brutal thing. According to an insider, there was a point when Triple H began noticing changes in Stephanie's behavior. She was laughing a little too hard at Kurt's jokes, lingering around his locker room area after tapings, and spending extra time during rehearsals. While some dismissed it as professional dedication to selling their storyline romance, others, including a few female superstars at the time, saw the emotional distance growing between Stephanie and Triple H. It's been said that Kurt Angle, even though known for being a focused athlete and intense performer, wasn't blind to Stephanie's attention. He reportedly confided in one of the road agents that he had feelings for her. Whether or not he acted on them, until now, has been a well-kept secret. But recent sources suggest something did happen, something that Triple H only found out about this year. Part 4. The discovery that broke him. The most shocking part of this scandal isn't just the affair, it's how Triple H found out. While going through personal archives for an upcoming WWE documentary, a celebration of his legacy, Triple H reportedly stumbled upon an old, unmarked mini-DV tape labeled, SummerSlam, 00 Behind the Curtain. He expected backstage training footage, interviews, or production scraps. What he saw instead left him paralyzed. According to those close to him, the tape included private backstage footage where Stephanie was caught in what's described as an emotionally intimate and physically suggestive moment, with Kurt Angle in her dressing room. No camera crew was supposed to be there. No such footage was ever aired. But somehow, a handheld cam from a production assistant caught it, and it had been buried in the archives for decades. Triple H reportedly stormed out of the screening room. Witnesses said his hands were shaking, his face pale. He didn't say a word. Not to the crew. not to the documentarians, and not to Stephanie. When he returned to the McMahon family home later that evening, he confronted her. Reports claim it was one of the most explosive arguments in their 20-plus-year relationship. Stephanie denied anything physical happened, insisting it was part of the storyline prep and nothing more. But the tape, and the tone of her interaction with Kurt, told a different story. Triple H allegedly told friends, it wasn't what they did, it was how she looked at him. This has led to a silent but visible rift between them. Triple H, who has been a steady presence on WWE programming and business meetings, has started missing key events and internal meetings. Stephanie has also been noticeably absent from recent public appearances. The WWE Universe, completely unaware of this ticking time bomb behind the scenes, is only just now waking up to the scandal that could shatter the very core of the company. The WWE Universe is still in shock, but behind the glitz and the glam of the squared circle, the consequences of this revelation were just getting started. What came next didn't just affect Triple H, Stephanie, or Kurt Angle, it sent tremors through every locker room, boardroom, and even the McMahon dynasty itself. Behind closed doors, at the heart of Titan Towers, the once unshakable foundations of WWE leadership were quaking. Triple H, still reeling from the emotional uppercut, reportedly skipped multiple meetings and left several creative decisions hanging. According to inside sources, he wasn't just upset, he was crushed, confused, and worst of all, humiliated. We're talking about a man who's been the cerebral assassin, the game, the one who's always 10 steps ahead in and out of the ring. But this blindside from Stephanie McMahon, his partner in marriage, business, and life, left him gasping for air. It wasn't just about Kurt Angle. It was the secrecy, the betrayal, the deception. And here's where the plot thickens. The locker room tension. Superstars in the back began picking sides. Some rallied behind Triple H, saying he deserved better. Others remained eerily silent, either out of fear or quiet loyalty to Stephanie and the McMahon name. But there were whispers, loud whispers, that morale was plummeting, trust was evaporating, and people were questioning the future of leadership. Seth Rollins, one of Triple H's most trusted protégés, reportedly had a heated exchange with Stephanie after an awkward production meeting. Bayley was seen consoling a shaken Shawn Michaels backstage after a last-minute talent meeting was abruptly cancelled due to personal emergencies. Even Roman Reigns, who rarely comments on non-bloodline drama, was heard backstage saying, "This ain't just a storyline. That's personal." Vince McMahon's reaction. If there's one man who could have stepped in and calmed the waters, it was Vince McMahon, but this time, even he was at a loss for words. Sources close to the situation claim Vince was furious, not because of the affair, but because of how exposed and vulnerable this made the McMahon brand look. Corporate sponsors began asking questions. The board was pressing for internal updates. WWE stock saw a 2.4% dip in one day following the public blow-up of the scandal. And according to one insider, Vince was screaming behind closed doors. Not just at Stephanie, but at everyone. This was an image crisis. And he hates being seen as weak. Imagine the man who built a billion-dollar empire now watching it get torn down by his own blood. If that doesn't make you want to scream, what does? Kurt Angle breaks his silence. Kurt Angle, after days of silence, finally addressed the chaos in an exclusive interview, and he didn't hold back. It wasn't my intention to hurt anyone. But feelings don't follow rules. Stephanie and we had a connection back then. It wasn't just a gimmick. And maybe it never really ended. Mic drop. Nuclear. No turning back. Triple H reportedly punched a mirror in his office moments after the interview aired. Angle's confession wasn't just an admittance, it was gasoline poured on a wildfire. Suddenly, everything from their Attitude Era storyline, the awkward backstage segments, and their random in-ring chemistry started making too much sense. Fans flooded Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit with theories, old clips, slowed-down videos, lip readings, everything to find proof that it had been real all along. The rabbit hole, endless. Stephanie goes dark. After Kurt's interview, Stephanie McMahon vanished from public view. Her PR team released a short statement. At this time, Stephanie will be taking a private leave to focus on her family. But the silence spoke volumes. Was she hiding out of guilt? Was she avoiding more damage? Or was she preparing for a counterstrike? What we do know is that WWE's internal leadership was thrown into chaos. Raw and SmackDown writing teams were left with minimal guidance. Triple H missed 3 consecutive appearances and was replaced last minute by Nick Khan for key operational decisions. The WWE Universe was losing its mind. The live audience at Raw started chanting, "Where's Triple H? Angle stole her. McMahons are done." Backstage. A civil war. It's not an exaggeration to say the backstage vibe turned into a Cold War. Executives avoided crossing paths. Producers whispered in corners. Even the catering room had an edge to it. Kurt Angle, now scheduled for a Legends segment, was booed at rehearsals. Stephanie's office reportedly had all her belongings removed overnight. And Triple H, he took down every family photo on his office wall. This wasn't just scandal. It was a power vacuum in the world's biggest wrestling empire. Where do we go from here? You'd think this kind of emotional detonation would be the end, right? Oh no. If there's one thing we know about the wrestling world, it's that nothing stays buried for long. And if you thought this was bad, wait until you hear what happened when Kurt Angle showed up at Stephanie's private estate just 3 nights ago.